Peacekeeping. What is peacekeeping? Can we keep peace? What is peacekeeping? Peacekeeping or peacemaking or peace building, there are different variations on this issue, peace. You know, how to create, maintain, build, keep. You know, you use different verbs before peace, right? Because probably peace is very is valuable item for the United Nations. So they use different verbs to describe this. But what kind of peace is more suitable for the UN, right? What kind of work could the UN do regarding peace? Clearly, it's not breaking peace, right? The mission of the UN is not to break peace, right? So either create, build, maintain, or at least keeping. The term keeping means a little bit, you know, it represents the value of the United Nations, right? Keeping peace means that it's not maximum kind of terminology, right? It's not aggressive kind of terminology. It is kind of a very passive, right? Very passive kind of terminology, right? So that represents the status of the United Nations. If you want to go fully on peace, then you're going to be doing more than keeping it, right? You're going to be doing more than keeping it. You should be doing more than keeping it. At least create or build, right? Not just keeping. So the UN set aside this word, keeping peace, right, for their turf. That's, I think, symbolic. Is it peacekeeping? Is it stipulated in the UN Charter? No. Peacekeeping is not stipulated in the Charter. In terms of things that, in terms of the use of force, okay, in terms of the use of force, the UN Charter has either one of two things, okay? The UN Charter has either one of two things. One, you should not use force, okay? In resolving conflicts, you should not use force. They recommend non-violent means, right? Second, non-violent dispute resolution. If non-violent dispute resolution doesn't work, then the UN can go ahead and use force. So either one of these two things. So peacekeeping is in between. Okay, peacekeeping is in between these two stipulations, either non-violent conflict resolution or use of force. Which section of the UN Charter concerns non-violent dispute resolution? Chapter 6. Chapter 6. Chapter 7, use of force. So peacekeeping is kind of is non-existent Peacekeeping, that term, non-existent in the UN Charter. So some refer to peacekeeping as 6.5. 6.5, chapter 6.5 means, right? So that's what it means. Because the UN doesn't have its own forces. The UN doesn't have its own army, right? It should be drawn from the forces of the member states, right? Then they form a unified command structure, UN structure. They put these borrowed forces under the UN command, the UN flag, right? That's how they use force, right? These are called peacekeeping forces. These are called peacekeeping forces. So they are sent to regional conflicts. Those states that send forces must not be involved in the conflicts. Okay? The countries that send forces should not be involved in the conflicts. They are casually called, officially called peacekeeping forces, otherwise called blue helmets. Blue helmets. Who authorizes peacekeeping forces? Officially, the Security Council. The Security Council authorizes peacekeeping forces, not General Assembly. Okay, peacekeeping authority for peacekeeping forces, not from the General Assembly, but from the Security Council. Okay, only in history, there was a time when the General Assembly granted peacekeeping forces. Only in history. But today, the Security Council gives the authority. But the money, funds for peacekeeping forces approved by the General Assembly. Compared to the 80s, compared to the 1990s, like 2000s, what would you say about the state of peacekeeping missions? Is it on the rise or is it on the decline, peacekeeping missions? On the rise, right. Peacekeeping missions are increasing in numbers. Particularly in the 2000s, peacekeeping missions have increased in numbers, which shows the trend of new nature of wars. There are many more civil wars. Regional conflicts, which invites these kinds of outside peacekeeping missions. Table 7.2. 7.2 shows the list of peacekeeping missions. The largest ever peacekeeping mission, 2012, peacekeeping forces in the DRC, Democratic Republic of Congo, the largest ever peacekeeping mission. DRC, then Sudan. This is the latest peacekeeping mission. about 20,000 each. About 20,000 each. More than 20,000 peacekeepers per conflict, right? Then we had similar missions in various other countries: Liberia, Ivory Coast, Lebanon, right? So just read about it. Now, page 248. Peacekeeping mission is composed of two kinds of missions. First, observing. Second, peacekeeping. Observing, it just means that unarmed military officers, okay, unarmed military officers without any weapons, they are sent to a conflict area in small numbers, and they simply watch what's going on, and they make a report back to the office, back to the headquarters. That's observing mission. Okay, as a first step. Then beyond that, you will get to peacekeeping mission. Okay, peacekeeping mission. In terms of logistics, peacekeeping mission is carried out by lightly armed soldiers. Okay, observing mission is carried out by unarmed officers, right? But peacekeeping is carried out by those lightly armed soldiers. Okay, this time soldiers get involved. Okay, what kind of weapons? Usually armored vehicles. Okay, then automatic rifles. That's it. No tanks. Okay, no tanks involved. Okay, no tanks involved. No artillery involved. Okay, so minimum weapons. How do they do peacekeeping? First, they can interpose themselves physically between two warring factions. Okay, interpose themselves physically between two warring factions. Okay, keep them apart. So peacekeeping forces are in between so that these two warring factions, okay, do not attack each other physically. Then second, negotiate. Okay, they implement negotiation. Okay, there was a debate on whether to create peacemaking forces, okay, within the United Nations. Peacemaking forces meaning this time not peacekeeping, but peace enforcement. Peacemaking means peace enforcement. So what entails in this peacemaking? Peacemaking entails several new features. They don't monitor a ceasefire like in the peacekeeping forces, peacekeeping mission. They enforce peace, right? They enforce peace. so that they need real forces, real UN forces. Like rapid deployment forces, rapid reaction forces. Either way, rapid deployment forces or rapid reaction forces. Okay? When something happens, they respond immediately. Okay? So peace enforcement requires different kind of. How did the member states respond to this UN request? Did the UN member states like it or dislike it? They didn't like it. Okay? They didn't like it. So it didn't come true. Now, Secretariat. Secretariat. Secretariat is the admin office of the United Nations, administration office. There are two components. Secretariat has two components. You have Secretary General, okay, the head of the UN, the head of the Secretariat. You have Secretary General, then the staff, okay, then the staff. Now we need to figure out how is Secretary General elected, right? How big is his staff? What are the main tasks and responsibilities of the Secretary General? Power, main power. What kind of powers Secretary General has, right? What are the limits to his power, right? Because he's a kind of a president of the world government, right? Quasi, a semi-president of the world government. So whether or not he has that power or not, right? We're just curious to know that. 장희라, you know the current General Secretary, Ban Ki-moon, right? Yes, Ban Ki-moon. Ban Ki-moon is current Secretary General. When was he elected? 장희라, when was he elected? The current Secretary General. 2007. Under President Bush. Yes. Ban Ki-moon. His last name is Ban. Last name is Ban. Very rare last name in Korea. Ban is one of very few last names in Korea. We have many Kims, right? Including me. There are many Kims. There are many Kims, Lees, Parks, but Ban, very few. Very few. So he's from that family, Ban family. So what did he do before he became Secretary General, Ban Ki-moon? What did he do? Huh? 조영진. Yes. Do you know about him? Ban Ki-moon. Is he a nice guy? Yes, nice guy. What did he do before he became Secretary General? Diplomat? For which government? For which country? The Korean government, right? He's a professional. He used to be professional career diplomat for Right, I mean lifetime service for the Korean Foreign Ministry. So he served more than almost 3 decades for the Korean government as a diplomat. Okay, he passed foreign service exam, then junior diplomat, went up, right, 30 years. He's from Chungcheong area. Yeah, middle part of Korea, Chungcheong area, like northern Chungcheong area, which is closer to Seoul than southern Chungcheong. So northern Chungcheong, where I come from. I'm also from that northern Chungcheong. I was born there. So my father and mother, they used to live there, northern Chungcheong area. So Ban Ki-moon is from that part of Korea, which is known as a traditional agricultural area. Then he went into Seoul National University. He studied diplomacy. Then he passed foreign service. Then served for the government for many decades. Then he worked at the Blue House as an assistant to the president. Right before he moved to the UN, he served as like an aide, foreign security aide to President Roh Moo-hyun. That's how he became known, serving as security aide to President Roh. He's known as a person who is very nice to everyone around him. Not every diplomat is like that, but he is known within the foreign ministry. He's known as a person who is nice to everyone. So everyone liked him. But on the other hand, he's so nice that he doesn't show his real personality. Okay? In a sense, willy-nilly, I mean, he doesn't show his real, right, personality. Kind of a strategy to succeed in societies like Korea. So he fits that typical Korean, like a successful bureaucrat, right? Typical successful Korean diplomat, right? In the mid-50s, right? A smart guy, and he speaks good English. In high school, he already known as a student speaking good English, right? In that remote area, right? Then he served President Roh very nicely, right? Very nicely. Then 2007, he became he saw that opportunity. I don't know exactly how he was presented as a Korean candidate for that seat, Secretary General, right? So here you see that you look at the list of past Secretary Generals, which country they are from. You just look at it. I mean, we don't have the list, but including Kofi Annan, just immediate predecessor, Kofi Annan, who served for 10 years, 2 terms. He served 2 terms. Kofi Annan, gentleman from Africa, although he was educated in the United States. Before him, which country? Usually past Secretary Generals, are they from the United States? No. Are they from so-called powerful countries? No. No one came from so-called permanent Security Council members. No one. Mostly from developing countries. So the question why the process of nomination of the Secretary General, kind of interesting, highly political, the nominating process, right? I think the country that has strongest influence on that nomination process, clearly the United States. Right? Within the Security Council, I think they maneuver a lot, right, in terms of nominating who, that vacant seat, right? There must be a lot of negotiation among the Security Council permanent members. Of those 5 permanent P5 members, the U.S. has a decisive voice regarding who should be nominated. So there was a rumor at that time, 2007, right before 2007, there were rumors that Ban Ki-moon was trained by some people in Korea who knows about this process. So that Ban Ki-moon was summoned by the White House right before this nominating process. Then President Bush met this guy, Ban Ki-moon. Then President Bush sort of tested him whether or not this guy is suitable for the new General Secretary. So Ban Ki-moon was being trained by some Koreans in Korea before he meets President Bush. So that's how he was nominated. There must be some reason why America needed a Korean Secretary General. Maybe the Korean influence is increasing because we have the World Bank, right? Also Korean. So Korean influence clearly was behind this nomination of Ban Ki-moon. So the Secretary General is officially nominated by General Assembly, Security Council, right? Secretary General is nominated by the Security Council, but must be approved by the General Assembly. The term, 5 years. Term, 5 years. Can be renewed. Okay, no one from major great powers. Okay. If you are interested, Ban Ki-moon, he suddenly, became a role model for many Korean young people who are interested in doing international work, the UN work, right? If you're interested in this field, okay, international civil servant, this kind of a diplomat, if you're interested in that, why don't you do some search for the college Kofi Annan went to. Do you know which college Kofi Annan went to? Kofi Annan, the college he graduated from. Do you know which college? There are a couple of professional kind of colleges and graduate schools that are specialized in training future diplomats. Graduate school, SAIS, Johns Hopkins, SAIS, right? Then you have Tufts, Fletcher School of Law and Diplomacy, right? And Columbia, School of International Public Affairs. These are top graduate schools, okay? College, undergrad. Find out which undergrad Kofi Annan graduated from. That college is not known in Korea, okay? But the undergrad college he went to, Kofi Annan went to, is one of the rising specialized undergrad program who are interested in this international diplomacy. In Wisconsin, I forgot the name exactly, which one. Wisconsin, very famous one. Okay, find out about that. The UN staff, how big is the staff? The UN staff? The UN system, more immediate UN system, 15,000. 15,000. If you include UN-related agencies, 80,000 staff members. There are two important missions. For the Secretary General. Probably the most basic mission is to manage Secretariat, right? As an admin head, manage the staff, right? 15,000 or 80,000 staff. He manages that Secretariat office. That's his primary task. But additional tasks there are two additional tasks. This is stipulated in the charter. The charter stipulates that Secretary General play this role. This is stipulated in the charter, which is Secretary General serve as a neutral mediator in international conflicts. So this is listed as one of the most important roles for General Secretary. Negotiator, right? Impartial negotiator. Given the nature of abundant international conflicts, Secretary General, who is a good Secretary General? Well, the qualification, most important qualification, who should be a good negotiator? I'm not sure whether Ban Ki-moon is a good negotiator, mediator, but this is one of the most important qualifications, job descriptions. Right? He or she must have good negotiating skills. This is one of the most important job qualifications, good negotiating skills. Second additional task for the General Secretary is that, this is one of the powers for General Secretary, which is, again, in the charter, the General Secretary can bring to the Security Council any matter that might threaten international peace and security. I think this is what makes General Secretary powerful, very powerful. He can bring up any issue at his discretion. He can bring up any issue in his judgment that might threaten international peace and security. So in so doing, he plays a major role in setting the UN's agenda in international security affairs. I mean, look what Ban Ki-moon does daily basis in the media. Either he poses himself as a conflict specialist, right? Here and there, conflict specialist. Then on the other hand, he shows himself as a development specialist, right? Things like Millennium Development Goals, right? Here and there he promotes these development issues. Then on other issues he brings up issues like human rights. So these are the issues that he's busy with, right? Security affairs, development issues, human rights issues. Now, General Assembly. General Assembly. In terms of makeup of General Assembly, how many members? 193 members. General Assembly, they vote on many different issues, right? One vote per country. Okay, no country has more than one vote, regardless of size or power. One vote, only one vote, no exception. In terms of meeting seasons, there are several different types of meeting schedules. Regular meeting, it's called plenary session. Plenary session. That's a regular meeting time. Plenary session. Between September through January, these are regular meeting times for General Assembly. September through January. These are regular meeting sessions. So this is what's called plenary session. Then on the other hand, you have special sessions. Okay, outside the regular sessions, you have special sessions or emergency sessions. Okay, emergency sessions. As special issues arise, you convene meetings. That's special sessions or emergency sessions. Emergency session should be much more rare right? Then special or even regular, plenary. The powers of General Assembly. What powers? We learned that Secretary General has important powers, some important powers, right? General Assembly, what kind of powers? What kind of powers General Assembly has? There are two important powers General Assembly exercises. General Assembly, number one, has the power to accredit national delegations. So General Assembly gives out permits to who is invited or not invited to the General Assembly. That's the power. So-called accreditation power. Sometimes they cancel the permits given to some members, like Taiwan, right? Taiwan membership was canceled. Instead, China, the mainland China. Mainland China was invited, right? So that is decided by the General Assembly. The other power of the General Assembly, control of finance, budgetary power. That's the other power. Finance for all activities, all the activities within the UN system. Peacekeeping or special agencies, all the budgetary issues within the UN system, that General Assembly's power. Another, the last one, last power. Last one. General Assembly controls UN programs and autonomous agencies. General Assembly runs UN programs and autonomous agencies. Indirectly. There is one other organization that directly handles programs and agencies. This is Economic and Social Council, ECOSOC. Okay? The institution that runs programs and agencies is ECOSOC. Okay? ECOSOC is part of the General Assembly. Then we should learn what are programs and agencies. There are many different programs and agencies under the General Assembly, under the ECOSOC. There are many programs and agencies. So all these different programs and agencies constitute the UN system combined. There are many programs and agencies. There are many different programs and agencies. Sometimes programs and agencies look same, right? But by nature, they are in different categories, right? Some are programs, some are autonomous agencies. Different status. Different status. Mostly these programs and agencies, one question. 권세원. 권세원? Ah. Maybe first time talking to you? That first time? Okay. Programs and agencies, right? In terms of functional areas, the General Assembly runs many different programs and agencies. In terms of functional issues, functional areas, my question to you is that these different programs and agencies are mostly in the security functional areas or social economic issues? Social economic issues, right? Yes. Yes. Right. Not security issues. These programs and agencies, mostly, in terms of functions, mostly social economic development issues. Mostly they address social and development issues, economic issues for poor countries. For poor countries. That's what the General Assembly is all about. Development, economic development, social development. That's their main task, not security. Kim Gi-hoon. A little bit more difficult question for you. There is one program or agency that addresses security issue. What is it?
Security regarding, so like national-wise or economic security?
Economic security? What is economic security?
If a country can develop or not. If a country is being exported by developed countries. So I believe those kind of aspects are also expectations with it.
Security meaning, that's a good question. That's a good question. Security is a very elusive term. Security, very elusive term. What do you mean by security? The UN Charter, and in this chapter, we talk a lot about security, right? The concept we use when we say security, probably we had some preset notion. We know already what means by security. In this context, the terminology of security we use, probably hard security, military security, like a protection from outside military threats. That's kind of a aspect of security we have been using here. But the concept of security is changing, right? As he suggested, there are many different variations on security. Okay? If not hard securities, if not military security, how about economic security? How about human security? How about non-traditional security? How about energy security? Right? So security has many dimensions, different dimensions, but without any special adjectives, just security means traditional security, hard security, right? So the security I meant is hard security, right? You might want to say General Assembly is involved in non-traditional security issues. Yes, you may be right, but not in hard security issues. So here, what was the answer from you?
So are you asking security issue in General Assembly?
Yeah, I mean, what specific agency or program that addresses security issues, traditional security issues?
IAEA.
Oh yeah. IAEA, yes. Yes. Just as simple as that. Sorry for asking that question. So IAEA, yes, IAEA is the agency that addresses security issues. Otherwise, you know that, right? 김기훈. Sorry. 김다운. Okay. The UN Conference on Trade and Development. UNCTAD, UN Conference on Trade and Development. You can visit the site. They have a website. It's a real organization. It's a real institution. It's not fake. Everything here listed, real. They have a site. They have staff. They have office, headquarters. Right? It's a real institution. UNCTAD. Trade issues. They address trade issues. What's the difference between WTO and UNCTAD? Because we have WTO. What's the difference between them? You don't know? Please. What's the difference between WTO and UNCTAD, UN Conference on Trade and Development? They address trade issues, but the focus is different. The focus is different. So you might want to look into that. What's the difference? 김민경. 김민경?
Yes.
Okay. What's the UN program that handles environmental issues?
UN Environment Program, UNEP.
Yes. United Nations Environmental Program. Yes. Yeah, UNFCCC. That's a different category. Different category. Kyoto Protocol, UNFCCC. These are different programs. Yeah, different programs. They are not quite programs yet. They are not listed here, right? Yes. How about children's issues? Kim Soo-min, do you like children?
I guess I do.
Yes. Right. What institution that addresses children's issues. Yeah, right. UNICEF. UNICEF. Do you know where the office is? The office? You don't know? France. France. We are still on the program, right? Still on programs. Development issues, development assistance. Kim Yerin, development issues. Which organization? Development program. Yes, development program. I used to work with them. Development program. The office is in the UN headquarters, New York. It's in New York, but they have many different branches in different countries, mostly in developing countries. Their job is to, what's the official explanation for development program? They coordinate. Okay, this is the official explanation. They coordinate all UN efforts related to development in poor countries. This is broad definition for UNDP. Coordinate all the UN efforts regarding development in poor countries. They provide technical development assistance. Technical development assistance. Through different projects. Usually they outsource projects to different local agencies and NGOs. So the project I did with the UN 10 years ago, like more than 10 years ago, 2001, I did a couple of projects from the UNDP. My work was to provide development assistance to Kazakhstan, 2001. So what we did was to receive money from the UNDP along with other professors and researchers in the US. Then as a team, we studied the economy of Kazakhstan. Then particularly analyze the Kazakhstan's energy-dependent economy. Energy-dependent economy. So we were asked to study ways in which Kazakhstan branches off into other non-energy manufacturing economic development. So we visited Kazakhstan for several months. So I was able to look different corners of Kazakhstan, different regions. 2001 it was okay. 2001. Then I went back 2007. Each year, 2008, 2009. Then 2010, 11, I didn't go. But this year I go back, December, to Kazakhstan. So 2001, it's a very exciting time. I was there right before the Afghanistan war broke out. I barely escaped right after the war began. The situation began to change very quickly. At that time, Kazakhstan already changing at that time when we went there. Already a lot of money flowing into Kazakhstan from Western countries. A lot of money was flowing, but not knowing where to use these like a resource money. They didn't know how to use this resource money. So money was there, but didn't know how to use it. So institutions like UNDP was helping them, okay? Like best use this money, socially, economically, right? This economic, unique economic development pattern has a lot of side effects, right? So we are experts on giving advice on these issues. What surprised me at the time in 2001, when I went there, when I was there, the economy was like a split half, like a one half quite prosperous. Some people are rich already, driving like luxury cars. Okay, on the roads there are many luxury cars already. Then GDP per capita was only probably at the time maybe $5,000 per year, GDP per capita. Currently, is it 12,000? GDP per capita today. 12,000, probably 12,000 today. At that time, 5,000. But the impression you get from the streets, more than 5,000. Okay? But if you look closely, still a whole bunch of people living, right, on the poverty line. That's what Kazakhstan was all about at that time, 2001. So there's a huge income gap. Huge income gap. So many rich people, but majority people very poor. Right? Because it relied on resource exports. Resource exports didn't need to rely on companies, middle class. They didn't need middle classes, right? Resource money. This resource money comes through just one big state energy company, that's it. So small group of elites, right? They benefit, right? So today, I think the Kazakh economy grew pretty much. And also many more people enjoy this resource wealth compared to 2001. But the root cause of that problem still remain in Kazakhstan's society. That's the problem. Specialized agencies, autonomous agencies are different from programs, right? Autonomous agencies are much more of technical nature, right? Specific technical area. That's how they, right? That's how they work. They work on particular, specific technical issues, right? Either on like health issues in poor countries, including immunization, right? Promotion, things like that. This promotion of health issues in poor countries is run by that particular specialized agency called World Health Organization, WHO, right? Very technical issue. Then agricultural issues, like a promotion of agricultural development in poor countries. Those are Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO. Labor issues, International Labor Organization, labor standards, right? Facilitating labor standards, labor organization. Cultural, scientific exchanges among countries, UNESCO. Currently, UNESCO has been in the limelight in the media. Currently, UNESCO, because UNESCO is in charge of giving, registering particular national, treasures, right? The global list. So that's what the UNESCO does, right? So UNESCO does that, like a cultural exchanges. Aviation and postal exchange. Aviation issues. We have International Civil Aviation Organization, ICAO. Civil Aviation Organization. Like a standards for international air traffic. Standards for international air traffic. We also need International Telecommunications Union. Telecommunications Union, that their job is to allocate radio frequencies. They allocate different radio frequencies. Copyrights and patents issues, World Intellectual Property Organization. World Intellectual Property Organization. Exchanges of weather information, weather forecast, promotion, exchanges, World Meteorological Organization, WMO, World Meteorological Organization, which is a very important organization, I guess, because it's related to disaster relief, disaster prevention. Due to climate change, right? More and more countries are subject to disaster, right? So this is important. World Meteorological Organization. They exchanges information regarding, weather and disasters. Right. Tuesday. Next Tuesday. Stay home. Friday, I'll see you Friday. When you come on Friday, read chapter 8, Global Trade.